As Part 2 concludes, the Empire begins to understand a terrifying truth. Humanity didn't just defend against their attack, they effortlessly neutralized it without breaking a sweat. The humans possess power beyond the Empire's ability to comprehend or counter. The real demonstration of human capabilities is about to begin. The demonstration General Mike's voice carries across the void to Admiral Rex's disabled flagship with perfect clarity. The human commander doesn't waste time with pleasantries or diplomatic formalities. His message is direct and unmistakable in its implications. Admiral Rex of the Galactic Empire, Mike begins, his tone suggesting he knows far more about his enemy than should be possible. Your fleet attacked our world without provocation. You have 60 seconds to explain why we shouldn't consider this an act of war, requiring immediate response. Rex struggles to formulate a reply. In all his years of conquest, he has never been in the position of having to justify his actions to a defeated enemy. But looking at his powerless fleet, he realizes the humans are far from defeated. If anything, the Empire appears to be completely at their mercy. Dr. Lisa monitors the conversation from Earth's primary command center, while simultaneously managing weapons systems that operate beyond conventional understanding. The technology surrounding the Empire fleet represents decades of human innovation, driven by a single terrifying question: what would happen if hostile aliens ever found Earth? The answer to that question is now being demonstrated in the space above their world. Humanity had prepared for this scenario with the same methodical thoroughness they applied to every challenge throughout their history. Rex attempts to explain the Empire's standard conquest protocols, hoping to present them as routine galactic politics rather than unprovoked aggression. He describes how the Empire maintains order across thousands of worlds through strength and decisive action. Mike listens without interruption, then responds with a question that chills every Empire. Officer monitoring the communication. Do you believe that might makes right, Admiral? That superior force justifies any action against weaker civilizations? Before Rex can answer, the space around the Empire fleet undergoes another dramatic transformation. The disabled warships begin moving despite their crews doing nothing to control them. Each vessel rotates slowly, giving every crew member a clear view of Earth's surface. But the planet they see is not the same world the Empire had attacked. Where their sensors previously detected a primitive civilization with scattered cities and basic technology, they now observe something that defies comprehension. Earth's surface reveals massive structures that dwarf anything in the Empire's experience. Cities that stretch across entire continents, connected by transportation networks that seem to move through folded space. Industrial complexes that appear to be manufacturing materials from pure energy. Captain Tom stares at his sensor readings in complete bewilderment. According to his instruments, some of the structures on Earth's surface exist in multiple dimensions, simultaneously. The humans have built civilization that operates partially outside normal space-time. Dr. Lisa explains to her team that they're allowing the Empire to see Earth's true nature for the first time. The primitive facade humanity maintained was necessary protection against exactly this type of aggressive first contact. Any species that approached with peaceful intentions would have been welcomed and shown the real human civilization. But the Empire chose violence, and that choice has consequences. The demonstration continues as Earth's defensive systems reveal their full scope. Weapons platforms materialize in space around the trapped fleet, emerging from what appears to be empty vacuum. These installations don't follow conventional design principles. They seem to exist as pure geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly. General Mike resumes his communication with Admiral Rex, but now his voice carries undertones that make seasoned warriors feel instinctive fear. Your Empire has conquered thousands of worlds by attacking civilizations that couldn't defend themselves. You've built your power on the suffering of species that never threatened you. The space around Rex's flagship begins displaying images, scenes from worlds the Empire has conquered, showing the devastation their standard tactics inflict on peaceful civilizations. Somehow, the humans have accessed records from across the galaxy, documenting the Empire's crimes in perfect detail. Rex realizes that humanity knows everything about the Empire's military capabilities, political structure, and historical actions. The intelligence-gathering operation required for such comprehensive knowledge would have taken decades and resources beyond any single world's capacity, unless that world had capabilities far beyond what the Empire considered possible. As the third part concludes, Mike delivers an ultimatum that will echo throughout galactic history. The Empire has a choice to make, and the decision will determine whether their civilization survives the next few minutes. The humans are done hiding their true nature. The galaxy is about to learn why Earth had always been the most dangerous world in known space. They just never had a reason to prove it until now. The ultimatum, General Mike's next words carry the weight of inevitable consequence across the void between Earth and the trapped Empire fleet. Admiral Rex finds himself facing a choice that no Empire commander has ever confronted: unconditional surrender or total destruction. "Your Empire ends today, Admiral," Mike states with calm finality. "The question is whether it ends through transformation or annihilation. You have 5 minutes to decide." Rex looks around his bridge at officers who have never known defeat. The Empire's military doctrine doesn't include protocols for surrender, because the concept was considered impossible. Their overwhelming technological superiority had made them the undisputed masters of the galaxy for millennia. But as Rex stares at his completely disabled fleet, surrounded by human weapons that operate beyond his understanding, he realizes that the Empire's reign of terror has encountered something they never prepared for: a civilization that could end them without effort. Dr. Lisa activates additional demonstration systems to ensure the Empire fully comprehends their situation. Throughout the galaxy, every Empire military installation, government facility, and colonial administration center simultaneously receives the same message humanity is delivering to Rex's fleet. The message is simple: the Empire's protection of distance and superior numbers means nothing to a species that can manipulate space-time itself. Every Empire world is now as vulnerable as Rex's trapped ships. On thousands of planets across the galaxy, Empire governors watch in horror as human vessels materialize in their skies. These ships don't travel through hyperspace or follow conventional, faster-than-light routes. They simply exist wherever humanity chooses them to exist. Captain Tom studies his sensors desperately, trying to understand how the humans achieved such impossible logistics. Moving entire fleets across galactic distances instantaneously should require energy outputs that would consume entire star systems. But Tom is thinking like every other galactic civilization, assuming that movement requires traveling through the space between destinations. Humanity had discovered that space itself could be convinced to rearrange its structure, making distant locations adjacent whenever convenient. General Mike continues his ultimatum to Rex, while simultaneously coordinating with human commanders across the galaxy. Every Empire world is receiving the same offer: immediate cessation of all military activities and colonial oppression, followed by complete governmental restructuring under human oversight. The alternative is demonstrated on 3 Empire worlds that attempt to respond with military force. These planets don't explode or burn. They simply cease to exist in any meaningful way. Where thriving worlds once orbited their stars, only perfectly empty space remains. Rex receives real-time reports of these demonstrations and realizes that humanity possesses weapons that can erase entire worlds from reality without leaving debris or energy signatures. The implications make him physically ill. Dr. Lisa explains to her monitoring team that the weapon systems aren't actually destroying the targeted worlds. Instead, they're relocating them to pocket dimensions where the Empire populations can live safely while learning to function as peaceful civilizations. The humans had spent decades preparing not just to defend Earth, but to end the cycle of violence that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. The Empire's attack provided the justification humanity needed to implement solutions they had hoped never to use. Admiral Rex attempts to contact Empire High Command for instructions, but receives no response. Unknown to him, the entire governmental and military leadership of the Empire is currently experiencing the same helplessness as his fleet. Every center of Empire power has been simultaneously neutralized. Mike allows Rex exactly 5 minutes to consider the ultimatum before initiating the final phase of humanity's response. During this brief period, the Empire Admiral experiences something unprecedented in his military career: complete understanding of his powerlessness. The Empire had built their civilization on the principle that superior force could overcome any resistance. They never encountered a species that considered violence to be a temporary inconvenience, rather than an existential threat. The first strike. The story opens with Admiral Rex standing on the bridge of the flagship Dominion, leading the massive Galactic Empire fleet toward a small blue planet called Earth. The Empire has conquered thousands of worlds across the galaxy, and Earth appears to be just another primitive civilization ripe for conquest. Rex examines the intelligence reports about humans. They seem to be a young species, only recently achieving spaceflight. Their technology appears basic compared to the Empire's advanced weapons and shields. The humans have small space stations and simple rockets. The Empire's scouts report no significant military presence in space. The Empire's war doctrine is simple and effective. They arrive with overwhelming force, destroy any resistance, and demand immediate surrender. Most civilizations submit within hours when faced with their massive fleet of warships. Those who resist are quickly crushed and made. Examples for other worlds. As the fleet drops out of hyperspace near Earth, Rex feels confident this will be another easy victory. The Empire's ships number in the thousands, each one capable of destroying entire cities. Their shields can withstand any primitive weapons these humans might possess. The first phase of the attack begins exactly as planned. Empire warships target major human cities and military installations. Energy beams lance down from orbit, striking what appears to be important targets. Explosions bloom across Earth's surface as the demonstration of power continues. Rex opens a communication channel to broadcast the standard surrender demand to Earth. He expects the usual response: panic, chaos, and quick capitulation. The Empire has used this same strategy on countless worlds with perfect success. But something strange happens. Instead of the expected pleas for mercy or desperate surrender offers, Earth goes completely silent. No communications come from the planet. No ships launch to attack or flee. The humans simply stop responding entirely. Rex finds this unusual, but not concerning. Perhaps the humans are too shocked to respond immediately. Some species need time to process the reality of their situation. He decides to give them a few more minutes before beginning the second phase of bombardment. During this brief pause, strange readings begin appearing on the Empire's sensors. Energy signatures unlike anything in their databases start manifesting around Earth. The patterns don't match any known technology or natural phenomenon. The Empire's science officers scramble to analyze the data, but their computers cannot identify the source or nature of these energy readings. The signatures appear to be building in intensity, emanating from multiple points on Earth's surface and from space around the planet. Rex orders his fleet to maintain position and continue monitoring. The Empire has encountered unusual defensive measures before, and their superior technology has always proved decisive. He remains confident that whatever the humans are preparing cannot threaten his massive fleet. As the energy readings continue to intensify, some of the Empire's more sensitive instruments begin detecting something impossible. The readings suggest the humans are manipulating fundamental forces of physics in ways that should not be possible with their apparent level of technology. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in hidden facilities that the Empire's scans never detected, human scientists and military leaders are coordinating their response. For decades, humanity has been preparing for this exact scenario: the arrival of a hostile alien civilization. The humans had detected the Empire's approach long before the fleet arrived at Earth. Secret deep space monitoring stations, invisible to the Empire's sensors, had been tracking the invasion force for weeks. This early warning gave Earth time to implement protocols that had been planned and practiced for generations. What the Empire failed to understand is that humanity's apparent primitive status was carefully orchestrated deception. The simple rockets and basic space stations were decoys designed to hide humanity's true capabilities from any potential alien observers. The energy readings the Empire is detecting represent the activation of weapons systems based on principles that no other galactic civilization has discovered. Humanity's approach to science and warfare follows paths that alien minds simply cannot comprehend. As the story's first part concludes, Rex realizes that something is terribly wrong. The energy signatures around Earth have reached levels that his instruments can barely measure. The space around his fleet begins to distort in ways that violate everything the Empire knows about physics. For the first time in his military career, Admiral Rex feels genuine fear. The humans are not behaving like any species the Empire has ever encountered. Instead of cowering before superior force, they appear to be preparing something that could threaten the entire invasion fleet. The stage is set for humanity to reveal why they have always been the most dangerous species in the galaxy. They just never had a reason to prove it until now. The awakening Admiral Rex watches in growing alarm as his fleet's sensors register impossible readings from the small blue planet below. The energy signatures emanating from Earth have reached levels that should require the power output of an entire star, yet somehow the humans are generating them from their seemingly primitive world. Captain Tom, Rex's chief science officer, approaches with troubling reports. The Empire's most advanced sensors cannot identify the type of energy the humans are using. It doesn't match any known power source in their extensive databases covering thousands of conquered civilizations. The distortions in space around Earth are becoming visible to the naked eye. Reality itself seems to bend and twist in patterns that make seasoned Empire officers feel sick just looking at them. Several crew members on the bridge request permission to look away from the main view screen. Rex orders his communications team to attempt contact with Earth again. This time, instead of demanding surrender, he tries to establish diplomatic dialogue. The complete silence from the humans is more unnerving than any threat or plea for mercy would have been. Unknown to the Empire fleet, deep within Earth's hidden command centers, General Mike coordinates humanity's response with calm precision. The underground facilities housing Earth's true military infrastructure span entire continents, connected by tunnels that exist in folded space-time. Dr. Lisa, humanity's lead physicist, monitors the weapon systems as they reach full operational status. The technology humanity developed operates on principles that most galactic civilizations never discover because their thinking follows predictable patterns. Humans approach the fundamental forces of reality from completely different angles. The weapons humanity built don't rely on energy or matter in conventional ways. Instead, they manipulate the basic rules that govern how reality functions. While other species built bigger guns and stronger shields, humans learn to rewrite the laws of physics in localized areas. As the Empire watches helplessly, the space around their fleet begins to change. The vacuum itself becomes something else. Not empty space, but a medium that responds to human will. The very concept of distance between objects becomes negotiable. On his flagship, Rex realizes that retreat might be necessary. He has never encountered anything like this in decades of conquest. The Empire's standard protocols have no provisions for enemies who can alter the fundamental nature of reality around them. But when Rex orders his fleet to withdraw, nothing happens. The ship's engines activate normally, but they remain in the same position relative to Earth. The humans have somehow changed local space-time so that movement away from their planet is impossible. Captain Tom reports that their hyperspace drives are also non-functional. The energy fields surrounding Earth have created a zone where faster-than-light travel simply doesn't work. The Empire fleet is trapped in a bubble of altered physics with no means of escape. Panic begins to spread through the Empire ships as crews realize their situation. For the first time in their civilization's history, an Empire fleet cannot retreat from battle. They are completely at the mercy of an enemy they don't understand. Dr. Lisa makes final adjustments to humanity's response systems. The weapons are not designed to destroy the Empire ships immediately. Instead, they will demonstrate human capabilities, in a way that ensures the message reaches every corner of the galaxy. The Empire's sensors detect new energy patterns forming around each of their ships. These fields don't appear threatening, but they make all weapon systems completely inert. Guns won't fire, shields won't activate, and even basic ship functions begin failing in specific ways. Rex watches in horror as his mighty warships become as helpless as children's toys. The humans are systematically disabling every system that could pose a threat, while leaving life support and communications intact. The message is clear. Humanity could destroy the fleet instantly, but chooses not to. General Mike opens a communication channeled to the Empire fleet. His voice carries the weight of absolute authority as he speaks to Rex directly. The general's tone is calm and professional, but underneath lies the promise of unimaginable consequences for continued aggression. The conversation that follows will reshape the political structure of the entire galaxy. Rex, representing the most powerful military force known to exist, finds himself negotiating from a position of complete helplessness with a species his intelligence reports had dismissed as primitive. As the 5-minute deadline approaches, Rex realizes that the choice isn't really between surrender and destruction. The Empire has already been destroyed as a military and political force. The only question is whether its population will be allowed to continue existing. When the deadline expires, Rex makes the only rational decision available to him. He formally surrenders not just his fleet, but the entire Galactic Empire to human authority. The surrender is broadcast across every Empire world simultaneously, ensuring that no local commanders can attempt continued resistance. Within minutes, the most powerful military force in galactic history has ceased to exist as an independent entity. As Part 4 concludes, the galaxy enters a new era under human guidance, and the universe is about to discover what peace actually looks like. Part 5. The New Order, 770 words. 6 months after the Empire's surrender, the galaxy has transformed in ways no civilization thought possible. Former Empire worlds that had known only oppression and exploitation now experience something unprecedented in their recorded history: genuine peace and prosperity. Admiral Rex, now serving as a liaison between human administrators and former Empire populations, stands in what was once the Empire's primary military command center. The facility has been converted into a coordination hub for galaxy-wide reconstruction efforts. The humans had not come as conquerors despite their overwhelming superiority. Instead, they arrived as doctors treating a galaxy-wide infection of violence and hatred. Every former Empire world receives exactly what its population needs to build a sustainable, peaceful civilization. Dr. Lisa oversees the technology transfer programs that are revolutionizing life across thousands of worlds. Humanity shares knowledge freely, but only technologies that cannot be used for warfare or oppression. Energy systems that provide unlimited clean power, medical advances that eliminate disease and extend lifespans, agricultural techniques that end hunger permanently. The former Empire species discover that human science operates on principles their civilizations never imagined. Where they focused on building weapons and conquering territory, humans had spent their development creating solutions to fundamental problems of existence. General Mike coordinates with planetary leaders who are learning to govern without military force or coercion. The transition hasn't been easy. Many worlds had never known anything except authoritarian rule backed by violence. Teaching entire civilizations how to function through cooperation and consensus requires patience. Humanity demonstrates in abundance. Rex often reflects on how completely wrong the Empire's intelligence reports had been about humanity. They had observed a species that appeared young and primitive, when in reality, they were witnessing the most advanced civilization in galactic history, choosing to remain hidden. The humans explained that Earth had detected the Empire's existence centuries before first contact occurred. Humanity spent generations preparing for the inevitable encounter, developing technologies and strategies specifically designed to end galactic-scale warfare permanently. Captain Tom, Now working with human scientists to understand their revolutionary discoveries learns that humanity's approach to physics stems from thinking patterns that other species simply don't develop naturally. Humans question assumptions that every other civilization accepts without examination. This different way of thinking allowed humanity to discover that the fundamental forces governing reality could be negotiated with rather than simply used. While other species built increasingly powerful weapons, humans learned to convince the universe itself to operate according to their preferences. The reconstruction of galactic civilization proceeds with remarkable efficiency. Former Empire slave worlds receive immediate liberation and assistance developing self-governing societies. Oppressive colonial administrations are replaced with councils elected by local populations. Dr. Lisa's teams work across the galaxy dismantling weapons of mass destruction and converting military-industrial complexes into facilities for producing medical supplies, construction materials, and educational resources. The transformation happens so quickly that many worlds can barely comprehend the change. Some former Empire species initially resist human guidance, suspecting that the new rulers will eventually reveal themselves to be as oppressive as their predecessors. But as months pass without any demands for tribute, military service, or territorial concessions, these populations begin to understand that humanity genuinely wants nothing from them except peace. General Mike addresses a gathering of representatives from every former Empire world, explaining humanity's long-term vision for galactic civilization. The humans don't intend to rule other species permanently. They're establishing systems that will eventually allow each world to govern itself while maintaining peaceful relations with neighbors. The speech concludes with humanity's most remarkable revelation. Earth had always possessed the capability to conquer the galaxy instantly, but chose isolation instead because they recognized that true strength comes from protecting rather than dominating others. Rex realizes that the Empire's attack on Earth had been the catalyst for something the galaxy desperately needed, but could never achieve alone. The end of the cycle of violence that had defined interstellar relations for millennia. As the story concludes, children on thousands of worlds grow up in peace for the first time in their species' recorded history. They learn cooperation instead of conquest, exploration instead of exploitation, and creativity instead of destruction. The galaxy has learned why humanity remained hidden for so long. They weren't afraid of other civilizations. They were protecting them from the terrible responsibility of facing a species that could remake reality according to their will. The Empire attacked Earth first, but humanity ended the fight instantly by transforming it into something unprecedented in galactic history. Lasting peace through strength used only to protect the innocent. The universe will never be the same. The end.